Is everybody in?
I
Got some work to
got
do.
2 meetings this week.
My gavel hand strong.
Some money.
Is everybody in? Ceremony's about to begin. All right, everyone, I would like to welcome everyone to tonight's City of Dayton regular city council meeting. It is June 9th, 2026, 7 p.m.-ish. Roll call, please. Ms. Klein.
Member Judd.
Present.
Member Levens.
Here.
Member Horton. Member Neary.
Here.
Member Neiman.
Here.
Member Kelly.
Here.
City Administrator Fawcett.
Here.
City Attorney Edmondson. Mayor Baker.
Here. I'd like to say that Member Horton did reach out to me, and he's unavailable to make it tonight, so he's excused. Could we all please raise for a moment of silence and a pledge of allegiance?
All right.
Thank you very much. For this month's mayor's report, I do not have much to report. So that's a good thing, actually. So we're going to move right along to the approval of minutes. So I have a motion to approve the minutes of May 22nd, 2026.
So moved.
Motion's been made.
I'll second.
Member Kelly made a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Next on the docket, we have some presentations tonight. And the first is the city auditor, John Chamberlain. So, John, our favorite of the year.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, mainly his favorite of the year.
Well, if you clap for me tonight, I was at the city of Park Hills back earlier this year, and I finished my presentation, and they just like all clapped, and I'm standing there, and I'm like, very seldom ever do I not know what to say. You know, I have that gift, and I'm like, okay, I'm not sure what to say here. No one's ever clapped for the audit presentation, so that's just a very different thing.
That's how
Mayor,
clean we
thank
are.
you very much. My name's John Chamberlain. I'm a CPA and partner at Chamberlain Owen & Company, and we're a CPA firm in Erlanger that specializes in audits of governmental entities, and we appreciate the opportunity to do the work again this year for the city of Dayton. I want to start off by thanking Jared and Tristan and Jay and your staff, and thank you for taking care of us when we visited you and providing us with everything that we asked for, and being a good host for us, and we really appreciate that. You've got a good accounting staff and a good staff here. Jared, the second slide just shows what's called our audit opinion, and we've given what's called an unmodified opinion, meaning that after the audit work that we've completed, that there are no modifications required to the opinion, and that's the highest opinion that we give, that your financial statements are fairly presented in accordance with U.S. generally accepted accounting procedures or accounting principles. So, so that's like I said, that's like the highest opinion. As a part of every governmental audit, we do a review of internal controls. We want to make sure that your riskiest assets are protected. So your cash assets, the revenue coming in the door, the expenditures going out the door, credit cards, anything like that, debit cards at the bank. We want to make sure those assets are protected. And so we did not identify any weaknesses in internal controls that we consider to be material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. Also, part of your internal controls are your financial reporting. And we made a few adjustments to financial reporting this year after your consultant accountant was here, but not as many as last year. So we went ahead and just removed that item from last year. We do have one issue. As part of every governmental audit, we do review for compliance. So compliance with Kentucky revised statutes, compliance with any bonds, grant agreements that you might have, making sure you pay your SERS payments that you're contractually required to pay, that type of thing. And there is one issue of noncompliance, and it's really just timeliness of the financial statement audit. And we received from your consultant, and they had planned this a few months ahead of time at least, that we would have everything by May 15th of 2026, and that we would finish it by the 31st, which we did, and 11:06 p.m. and but it was by the 31st. But it is due. Your audit is due to the Department of Local Government by March 1st. So we would normally be doing this presentation in January, December, January, February timeframe. So we really want to get that fixed. And so our recommendation to the city in your management comments letter is to review that agreement that you have with the consultant accountant and just to make sure that that you solidify your delivery dates and that type of thing with a consultant. The next slide shows we do a letter of correspondence with the city council, and you'll have that letter in your packet. Tristan will make sure everyone has that. And so we had no issues that we considered to be significant issues that we'd really want to put in front of you, other than that one issue, that one finding of timeliness of the audit report. We did make 3 planned adjustments to your net position. That's your government-wide net position. And we do the first of these 2 every year. We've done these every year we've done the audit, and that's just to adjust the net investment return for your investment in the Dayton Bellevue Fire Department. For this city, that's for Dayton and Bellevue both. You have half of the value of the Dayton Bellevue Fire Department on your books as an investment. If that fire department closed up, all those assets would be yours in Bellevue. So that goes on your books as an investment. Unfortunately, because they're a hazardous SERS system, they have a very large negative fund balance, and so that goes on your books as a negative balance. Then we also adjusted the OPEB and pension benefit, and we do that annually. We gross that up. That's measured in June of the previous year, June of 2024. Goes on your 2025 financial statements, and so we gross that up every year. And then this year we did something new where you've started to lease your police vehicles instead of buying them. This used to be called in the accounting parlance an operating lease, and these never were on the financial statements up until about 3 years ago when GASB, the Government Accounting Standards Board, GASB 87, requires that operating leases like this, they go on your financial statements, on your long-term financial statements as a right-to-use asset that gets amortized, and then a related lease current and long-term liability. So those go on your financial statements. So we added $494,000 of leased vehicles, of right-of-use assets on your financial statements. About $80,000 of that was accumulated amortization for the first year or two, and then $413,000 of related right-of-use lease liability. Okay, and then we also made 3 unplanned adjustments in the general fund, 4 in the TIF fund, and 1 in the urban renewal fund. Again, much fewer than we did in the prior year. The most significant, and that's all detailed in your governance letter, the most significant adjustment that we made in the general fund and the government-wide fund as well was to recognize about $513,000 in the national opioid settlement receivable. And so we recognize that you had already received about $175,000 in the last couple of years, but the accounting treatment for this opioid receivable is to put that on your balance sheet as a receivable until you receive it, and then it's also it's called a deferred revenue, so it sits on your balance sheet as a deferred revenue until you're ready to use it. Okay, and so we'll get more into that in just a minute. But so we made that adjustment. So there's currently at June 30th, 2025, about a $352,000 receivable. That's what you're left to come in the door. We made a $125,000 prior period adjustment to count the monies that had received in the prior couple of years. We actually took those out of revenue. You received them, put them in revenue. We moved them to deferred revenue, and then you have about $513,000 deferred revenue. I'll give a test on that later and have you all explain it to me one by one if you don't mind. So that's really that's one of the bigger adjustments that we made this year. So that is something that's a little bit different, and I'll show you more about that. On the next slide shows your cash and asset position and your statement of government-wide financial statements. And you can see cash there at $5.6 million, up from about $4.6 million last year. So almost $1 million increase in cash position, $998,000 increase. And cash has been increasing. You can see that trend line for the green bar for cash has been just increased pretty much every year. The capital assets increased about $570,000, and that's again those right-of-use assets of almost $500,000 plus about $350,000 of capital assets. Then net all that with accumulated depreciation. So your capital assets have increased as well. Back one slide just a second, Jared, and if you don't mind. The Government Finance Officers Association recommends municipal governments have about 3 months of operating expenditures on hand in cash, about 1/4 of your year of your operating expenditures on hand in cash. For Dayton, that's about $1.7 million, and you can see there you got about 5.6. You got right at 10 months of operating cash on hand. So you're a very solid cash position. So I always encourage cities, you don't necessarily need to scrimp and save if you've got some projects you need. Next slide, please, is the yellow is the current liabilities, and that's the accounts payable, things that are due in the current period. That increased slightly, about $85,000 from last year up to about $414,000, and the increase really is due to the current portion of that right-of-use asset. So you'll hear me talk about this. That right-of-use asset liability is what makes up the increase in that current portion. The red is your long-term liability. And you did pay off the fire truck that you had the debt for with the Dayton Bellevue Fire Department, so you paid that off, and then you just immediately replaced it with long-term debt lease liability of about $319,000 there. So just swapped one for the other. The green is your investment in the Dayton Bellevue Fire Department, so that's basically half of their net position, obviously a negative net position. And then the $3.5 million, that is your net pension and OPEB liabilities. Yours went up just slightly. In the measurement year, your contributions, your covered payroll had increased about $293,000 in the covered payroll year, and that's why your percentage of the CSRS amount that you own actually increased. And most of those have gone down last year. Yours actually went up a little bit because you're basically paying out a little more in hazardous and non-hazardous staff. The next slide, this is just an excerpt from your statement of net position, and I think it'd be nice to show you some of the financial statements on here. I don't want to go through all of them, but it does show that national opioid receivable. That's that top line that's underlined, the $352,000, and that'll go down every year as you start to receive those funds. The boxed area right below that, that's the right-of-use assets less the accumulated amortization. So $494,000 in assets less $80,000 accumulated amortization. So right at about $413,000 net. And then down below that, the two right-of-use liabilities, the $94,000 and the $319,000 that make up the liabilities related to that. So I just want to show you where those were in your financials. The next slide is the balance sheet, and this is the balance sheet for all funds. So you can see there you had total assets of about $8 million on the balance sheet, and total liabilities are right at $2 million, and these are current assets, current liabilities. This doesn't include any of your long-term. So these are just things that are due and payable here in the next year. And so assets minus liabilities is your net position, and you see your total net position, or your fund balance down there, I should say, right at about $6 million, $5.9 million. And then that deferred revenue, you see opioid settlement deferred revenue at $513,000. So that's the total amount of that deferred revenue. So when you start to spend that, what you'll want to do, and Jared and Tristan, I'm going to stomp the floor here so you all pay attention. And remember to ask me this. I know you said something about this. but you'll want to recognize that revenue like it's revenue coming in the door. We'll remove it from the deferred revenue. But when you budget this, budget it as revenue coming in the door and then expenditures of the same amount. So when you're ready to use those expenditures, if you want to use 60,000 of those expenditures in the new fiscal year, you'll want to budget 60,000 of revenue and 60,000 of it. Okay? And like I said, feel free to call and say, what did you say? The next slide is just your revenues versus expenditures from all sources. And this is over the last 5 years. You see there are total revenues of $7.6 million compared to expenses of almost $6.8 million, about an $815,000 variance to the positive or a net income of the year. That compares very favorably to last year. Last year was right at about $1 million. You had some other grants and some other things that came through there last year. Okay, let's go to the next. The total revenues, again, right at $7.6 million. That's about a 1.7% increase. These are the sources of your revenues, basically. So your taxes of $3.3 million, that's about a 19% increase. I'm going to point out that that is due to property values, new property being built in the city. That's obviously not a tax increase. So it's very organic growth through property value and new property in the city. So that's a very good thing for the city. Licenses and permits at $2.8 million, again about a 10.8% increase, and that's due to growth in business in the city and collection, and an emphasis on collection, which you guys have done a good job of. So applaud there. And then the other ones really pretty much are very similar year to year, except for intergovernmental, and that was about a 55% decrease. And you had spent about $494,000 in ARPA funds last year. You remember the funds gifted from the federal government that you used for a lot of special projects. You had expended those in the prior year, didn't get those funds again this year, and so the governmental revenues decreased by about 50%. Next slide are total expenditures by department. Again, about $6.79 million in expenditures, about a 5.3% increase, so a very reasonable increase. Police at $1.6 million, only about a 0.1% increase. I think that amounted, or a decrease, I should say, about a $1,700 decrease, so almost dead on from last year. Professional services of $1.2 million, and that was about $154,000 or 14% increase. Fire and EMS, about 0.4% decrease over the prior year, or right at about $5,000 again, just about dead on. General government at $871,000. That's about an 11% increase, roughly $89,000. And then public works, a decrease of about $268,000 or minus 27%. But that's where a good chunk of that ARPA funds that was spent in public works last year as opposed to capital assets. And so that's why that. And then capital outlay of about $351,000, and that is an increase from last year as well. Recreation, $102,000 increase, about 112% increase there. And then some of the projects for the capital outlay and recreation that we recognized this year were your 4th and Kenton stormwater project, the Irvin Terrace stormwater project. There was a Gil-Lynn Park structure upgrades and cameras, and then Sargent Park Pavilion and trail upgrades, as well as the Riverfront Commons, and then a lot of equipment purchased for police and public works. And then the next slide shows revenues versus expenditures, and for the crowd, we can't really see that slide. You all will get a copy of this, but and it's also in the financial statements that you'll have, obviously. All that goes online, I think, on your website. You'll be able to see this, but this is just the revenues versus expenditures. So it shows those total revenues of $7 million over in that far right-hand column, and then the $6.7 million of total expenditures, again, in the far right-hand column. But it's also broken down by general fund, the incremental tax fund, and then all the non-major funds. So that's where that comes from. That's page 14 in your financial statements. You want to look at those in more detail. Just one other thing, and this is in your financial statements, when you get these, I just want to point this out, that the city did budget, they budgeted about, right at about $10 million in revenue coming in the door, actually had about $9 million of revenue coming in the door, and then, so, I'm sorry, about $6 million of revenue coming in the door. And the difference really, you had budgeted for a grant of about $3 million that you did not receive in the current fiscal year, or in the current being 2025 fiscal year. And then you had budgeted roughly $10.5 million in expenditures in the general fund, expended right at about $5 million, with that $5 million variance being grant expenditures that you didn't expend because you didn't get the grant that you were promising or that you were forecasting for that. So you had did meet your budget requirements of budgeting expenditures within budget, that thing, which is a KRS requirement as well. So, any questions? Anything? Again, in summary, an unmodified opinion, and no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses to report, and then the one non-compliance item regarding timeliness of the audit.
We'll definitely try to be more prompt next year, sir. Appreciate that, calling us out. Anybody have any questions for John?
Two quick ones. The debt service, I didn't see that in the, like, last year's budgets or anything, so it looks like it was kind of maybe a one-time thing for
Yeah.
141,000?
The having debt service as a budget line item.
Is that because of the lease?
Yeah, you really should have. The leases are probably rolled through your lease expense is being budgeted probably through your police and public works department where you're getting your cars. So it's not really rolling through debt service in the budget because it's not really. It's an operating lease, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
I know those terms went away. The term operating lease has really gone away, but that's really what it is.
Right. I guess my question is, it wasn't, do we need to adjust for that in this current year? Because it's showing 0 for debt service?
So, yeah, you already got it included in your police and public works because you've already got the expenditures included that you're paying enterprise for your rental for your the leased vehicles. That's already rolling through. So you're not breaking it out by debt service. So
Got it. Okay.
now,
Okay.
you could, if you wanted to do that, you could break that out, but I'm not sure that I would recommend. I think I would keep that in police and fire. It's more descriptive in police.
Right. More
police and public
transparency that
works.
way. Yeah. And then the other question is, I guess, as far as your standard practice, do you have a standard audit plan that you cover every year, or are there certain things that you take deep dives into every year?
So we change that around a little bit. You know, we don't do the exact same thing every year. We usually ask for different things. There are certain things we do every year. We always look at credit cards. We feel like those are one of the riskiest things that you do. We'll always look at, then, you know, we always look at your bank accounts, and, you know, there's certain things we always look at. We always do there's some comparative information that we always look at, you know, your tax revenues, a lot of your revenues, we look at very, comparative year to year to year to make sure they're not doing something funky or decreasing. And then expenditures, we're really looking for things that with significant changes from, you know, year to year. You know, we're not going to go look at your utility revenues or something like that. We want to look at things that have oddball changes. You know, why did something go up or go down dramatically, that type of thing. So we do preliminary analytical procedures that pull out those, that kind of suss those things out, or pull those out and say, you know, these are things that, you know, there's been a significant increase or decrease, and so we'll check those accounts out.
Okay. So it's based on what you assess that
Right.
you decide to dive deep into?
Yeah, we basically assess a risk
Got it.
factor. So because it's a risk-based audit, we're looking for potential risk. And like I said, your utility bill is not a great risk unless you see great difference in it. So we'll look at other things. We'll look at a lot of miscellaneous accounts and look at things that, you know, might be like an oddball account.
Great. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Good questions. I can always depend on you to have a good question. Be on my A game.
Thank you, Councilman Judd. Any other folks want to question Mr. Chamberlain? All right, well, thank you very much, sir, for your assessment.
All right,
And
thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, John.
You have a great night, man.
The second crowd.
You are a rock star in Northern Kentucky municipalities now. Good job, man. Well, after that riveting account, next up we have the Rotary Club for Northern Campbell County. So we'd love to have you guys speak to council.
I just asked for a little time because if you remember several months ago, I came here saying that we were trying to start a Rotary Club here in Dayton. And I'm pleased to say that we now have a satellite club here in Dayton. And part of it is to thank you for allowing us to meet here because it gave us a place that we could have people come to. And I really appreciate that. On that note, the name of the club is the Rotary Satellite Club of Dayton Hybrid. And hybrid in our case means that we're not a traditional Rotary Club with a meeting, a speaker, and a meal plan. We're a Rotary Club that's geared to new generations. And that meaning our particular Rotary Club is intended to be a service-based Rotary Club. And in Rotaries reach out to people of new generations, not mine, but is to consider schedules, to consider what youth want to do and so forth. So this Rotary Club, for the most part right now, has more people 40 and younger, and we're based on doing service. So our second service project is going to be on June 28th, and we're going to be cleaning up the city, gathering garbage wherever. So I've asked Jarrett for a map of the, and he's going to get me a map of the city, and we're going to try and plan it out where, like, maybe a team takes 4 blocks or something like that. We'll have to figure that out yet. But, and it will be from 9 a.m. till noon. And we're meeting at the Liquor King parking lot that worked for us last year, or last, in April, whenever that was. And we're hoping to get a lot of people from the community involved. So spread the word, and we have flyers out there somewhere, and I today contacted, because my position with Rotary is I'm called the assistant governor, and so I'm responsible for all the Rotary clubs in this Northern Kentucky area. I'm Area 1 of our district. And I sent out an email, in our Rotary world, it's called the P-mail, and to all the Rotarians in this area today. They're supposed to welcome you into the club. So, thank you for everything that you've done for us.
I have a question.
Sure.
On June 28th, 9 to 12, what do people bring to participate? Do you have to bring
Well,
bags?
last time, Ben supplied us with I don't know what you call those things,
Grabbers?
pickers, or, yeah.
Grabbers.
Yeah, something like that, gloves, containers for the garbage, which were the buckets, right, Ben?
Yeah, they're just 5-gallon buckets. We got a hardware store. We can't promote any ones, but
Yeah.
it was a hardware
Things
store.
like that. what we're going to do this time, because we've done a little research on it, is we're going to try and, lots of people said when they were checking out to me at that day of the event, that they were concerned about all the cigarette butts in the city. So I did some research on it, and there's a way that we can recycle cigarette butts and turn it into a park bench. So if we can make that happen, the park bench goes back to the city of Dayton.
Cool. So they can just show up empty-handed and start to work?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. Anybody else have any questions?
I have about 20 or 25 pickers. You
20 or
want me-
25 what?
Of the garbage pickers?
Oh, I thought you meant cigarette butts. Yeah?
No. I wish,
I know, man. It was great being young, wasn't
but
it?
I could bring them up to the city building.
All right, cool. Thanks, Jess.
Anybody else?
Any other questions?
Thank you so much for everything that you've done for me.
Well, thank you, Barb.
Thank you, Barb.
And your organization, your motto is service above self.
Yes.
And you guys certainly carry that flag, and we appreciate you in the city of Dayton. Next on our docket is the podium is open to anybody who would like to address city council for any of tonight's agenda items. So if you have anything you'd like to speak to council about tonight's agenda items, the podium is yours. Just name and address, please. I don't see anybody bum rushing the podium, so we're gonna go ahead and close that out. Which moves us along to the next docket item, which would be ordinances. The first one is the second reading of ordinance 2026-5. Ms. Klein, please.
An ordinance amending the City of Dayton, Kentucky's annual budget for the fiscal year running from July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, and estimating revenues and resources and appropriating funds for the city to the full extent authorized by KRS 82082 and interpretive case law.
This was the ordinance that basically made amendments to the budget for last year, not the one we're voting on next, which is for the next fiscal year, but last year to reflect any changes that weren't consistent with the existing budget that was approved, and so that just cleans that up.
Do I have a motion to accept ordinance 2026-5?
So moved.
Member Judd's made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Member Neiman. Which opens up for comments, questions, concerns. Anybody like to have comments, questions, or concerns? I have a motion by Member Judd and a second by Member Neiman. Roll call, please.
Member Levens.
Aye.
Member Neary.
Aye.
Member Neiman.
Aye.
Member Kelly.
Aye.
Member Judd.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Next in the docket will be second reading of ordinance 2026-6. Ms. Klein, please.
An ordinance adopting the City of Dayton, Kentucky's annual budget for the fiscal year running from July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027, and estimating revenues and resources and appropriating funds for the city to the full extent authorized by KRS 82.082 and interpretive case law.
So this is the ordinance that is approving the budget for the upcoming fiscal year, which starts July 1. Assistant City Manager Barks went through a very detailed analysis at the last meeting. If you have any questions, I would direct them to him. He's the budget director for the city. So basically, this is adopting the upcoming budget.
Thank you, Mr. Fawcett. Do I have a motion to accept 2026-6?
I'll make the motion.
Member Kelly's made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Lovins. Any questions, comments, concerns towards Mr. Barks?
I know in the ordinance here, or it would be an ordinance that it just breaks it down by department. I did some analysis line by line on the budget, so we can tell, the motor vehicle tax, what is the increase from this current year's budget to next year's budget. And is it all right to share this with all the council, or?
Just keep that definitely.
And it gives you a little bit more insight into individually where in the departments there's some
Thank you.
savings and some added expenditures. When we get the financial, the end of the year budget report next month, I'll add a third column in there that'll say, okay, next year we expect to spend this much, and last year we did spend this much versus just what was budgeted. Jared, that is the same document that we were working on that I sent you the other day. For your reading enjoyment. You can't fall asleep tonight, just go through that.
Member Neary, did you have any concerns over any of these items?
But yeah, you don't say that long without saying yeah.
I have questions that I would rather ask privately because I may be way off base on them. Nothing nefarious or anything, just why we put some things here and not here, that's all.
Yep.
I think the proposed salary changes and the increases that you see, the small incremental increases are pretty much due to inflation. I don't see anything wild in there. Maybe you could pick something out that would have questions. And I'll direct those questions privately to Mr. Barks in administration rather than bring them up. Because like I said, I don't want to look like a fool. I don't understand half of this stuff. I couldn't be an auditor. I just like Excel spreadsheets.
Excel's pretty awesome. And that's what we need is more auditors.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I think we need more IT guys, but
With that said, no concerns for me on this. I like the collaborative effort that we have in the budget process.
thank you, Mr. Neary.
My pleasure, sir.
So as far as the second reading of ordinance 2026-6, we have a motion by Member Kelly and a second by Member Lovins. We have comments by Member Neary. Do we have any other comments, questions, concerns? If not, roll call, please.
Member Neary,
Aye.
Member Neiman,
Aye.
Member Kelly,
Aye.
Member Judd,
Aye.
Member Lovins.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. The last on the docket for the ordinances of the evening would be the first reading of ordinance 2026-7. Again, this is just a first reading. Ms. Klein, please.
An ordinance amending the personnel and pay classification plan of the City of Dayton, Kentucky, including establishing city employee salaries for the 2026-2027 fiscal year and amending compensation ranges for these positions.
So under state law, we're supposed to adopt a personnel pay classification plan. We needed to update our previous one because we had some additions added to our personnel, and the ranges have changed in order to reflect actual salaries. So that's what this is for. This is, we passed this 2 years ago. This is an amendment to that. We passed 2 years ago.
Thank you, Mr. Fawcett. That again is a first reading. So we will have a whole 30 to 31 days, depending on the month, to ask questions. Next up, orders and resolutions. The first on the docket would be Order Resolution 2026-8 Romeo. Ms. Klein.
An order resolution authorizing the mayor to execute indemnification agreements with Jenny F. Schlosser and Beth Fennell in connection with construction of Phase 2 of the Dayton Pike Sidewalk Project.
So we are getting closer to the point where we're going to try to get a bid out here. We have to get KYTC approval, and their final design plan is just being finished up. But in order to do this sidewalk project, we have to get sign-off from each of the property owners along Dayton Pike. We've gotten a lot of consents that were voluntarily given to us. Jeff Schlosser, who is a lawyer, his wife is a co-owner of the property. It's a large tract right on the Big Bend there. It's undeveloped. It actually runs from Lincoln Road all the way down to Dayton Pike. They have several people that were, some people that were in the group that acquired this property, and they just wanted to make sure that, that if there were any, we only go on their property, we don't do anything permanent there, we're going on there to do the construction, then once we're done, we come off. So they asked for an indemnification agreement from the city that if, for whatever reason, any issues arise, that we will cover that expense. So I don't see any issues likely to arise, but in order to get this accomplished, I said we'd do that, so that's why it's here. Alex drafted the actual indemnification agreements and talked to Jeff too about it. And I think that they will sign the consent once this agreement is, once we get this agreement signed.
Is there a reason why we don't go ahead and do those to begin with on these types of projects?
We
While we
don't
wait for the citizens to raise the question of indemnification?
KYTC requires us to get these consents signed, and then if you don't get signed, then you have to go through an eminent domain process, which takes a long time, and it's more, the project won't get done for probably another year. So the idea is to get the consent signed, and they'll sign the consent once they have this agreement from us. Does that answer your question? I'm not sure if I understood it.
I don't think so. So
Okay.
I guess, how many people in total were involved in this?
I would say there are about
Or
13
households?
13 or 14 households. We have about 10 signed, 9 signed, and we got 2 are waiting for we had to change some designs, that's what's delayed a little bit, to make some changes. They wanted somebody's driveway or parking pad was reduced. They wanted more space on the other end. Another one wanted a curb. So we had to go back and redesign it, and so once that's done, they've told us they'll sign off on it. So we got about 4 more to go.
I guess my question is, these indemnification agreements make sense to me from a citizen standpoint to begin
Yeah.
with. Is there a reason why we don't go ahead and do this, like for the other 9 or 10 people that we already have involved?
No, I mean, it will take this process further. It was hard enough to track down the property owners in the first place, but generally, KYTC doesn't require that. All they want is the consent. But they're basically saying, you can come on my property, make your improvements, and then when it's done, you're off my property. This is all in the right of way. We're not on their property to actually, we'd have to get an actual permanent easement if we were on their property making changes. But
Got it.
this is just a temporary easement to allow us to go on, do the work. In a few places, we have to grade it a little bit, but they understand that. We explained that to them, and they're fine with it. In the long run, they're all going to benefit because we're going to put a curb here now. That's a big flooding issue, and we'll actually put a little lip on the driveways too, so the water will be contained in the street. Most of it will. And so I think in the long run, they're all going to benefit from this, not just a new sidewalk, but they're also going to have less flooding issues that they currently have.
Gotcha. My question was basically, should we in the future just draft these indemnification agreements and have them ready to go?
Because then
Sounds
they're
like the
going
answer's
to,
no
yeah,
on
I
that.
think that's more complicated. Alex, you want to,
Yes.
then you get
we,
lawyers involved.
Yeah, this was this was in a little bit more of an unusual situation, and there was a lawyer involved on the other side. That's really kind of what was forcing it. We don't love signing indemnifications, basically saying we'll fix all the problems, but this was one that required it. So that's why you wouldn't voluntarily give people indemnifications if it's not required by the law. So this one, but there were some competing circumstances with lots of heirs that may not even have known they owned the property. So that's what happens when you have remnant parcels, and this is the case. So we worked on this for about actually 3 or 4 months to try to figure out how to handle a situation. So I think this was a pretty good result.
Yeah, and Jeff's a lawyer, so typical lawyer. Give me an agreement, protect me.
Great. Thanks for the info.
Okay.
And this is also of all the parcels involved in this project, this is the most challenging technically because of the drop-off and the old stream that was there and everything. So I could see why they would want indemnity on it. It's more complicated than the rest of it combined, put it that way.
And it's only a small section. It all comes down to a tiny point, but it's right there at
Right.
that turn.
And then how many parcels are we still waiting on sign-offs?
I think 3, but I think, I'm talking to Mike, they're waiting for the final design. So once they see the final design, he's got an indication from them, they'll sign off on it. So we're hoping we can still get this thing done, but again, we have to send it to the state, and they have to approve it. So we're going to try to speed that up if we can, but we know how that's been in the past. So we're hopeful that we can do it this fall. So late summer, this fall. But we're ready to go. As soon as state signs it, we got a document ready for the bids. So
Okay, thank you.
So we've had a lot of conversation already out of Robert's Rules ordinance. Do I have a motion to accept ordinance 2026-8 Romeo?
So moved.
Member Neary's made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Member Neiman. Which opens it up for conversation, because we always forget that line. Anybody else have any conversation?
I helped that, so I apologize as well, Mayor.
That's okay. You're still in the rookie stage. Any other conversation? Roll call, please.
Member Neiman.
Aye.
Member Kelly.
Aye.
Member Judd.
Aye.
Member Lovins.
Aye.
Member Neary.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Next on the docket would be Order Resolution 2026-9er Romeo. Ms. Klein.
An order resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with Stephen Arthur Kunath and Catherine Jane Kunath, and to accept a declaration of easement from them for the purpose of making public improvements at 152 Grant Park Drive, for the purpose of collecting and directing stormwater and groundwater from this property and directing it into the public stormwater system on Grant Park Drive.
So this is phase 3 of the improvements we're making on Grand Park Drive to deal with stormwater and groundwater issues. This is similar to what we did last year. We had 4 properties on the south side of Grand Park down near the circle, where we had a number of problems with some pumps that were not tied into the sewer system, stormwater sewer system. We did that last year. The project was great. It's been completely dry since we did it, so it's really good. This one is 2 projects. One's closer up to Michigan Avenue. The other one is down near the end of the street, near the circle. One is like last year's. It's a sump pump issue. We're going to tie it in. We'll do a French drain to catch groundwater and dump it into the stormwater system. The other one is a little bit different. It is an actual spring issue, we believe. The sump pumps in that area of Grand Park have already been tied in to the system, so we think we're really just addressing a spring that's there. So we're going to be installing sewer inlets in the grassy area, and then doing a underground French drain that will try to capture water coming up from the north side of the street. And we also will do a French drain across the street, because we have to go across the street and tie into the stormwater sewer over there anyway. So that will be done as well. That one is not requiring a sump pump work, so the city will foot that bill. We are seeking SD1 payment for a minimum of 50%, but maybe more. They've agreed to do it in the past, so we suspect that they'll agree to do it again. But that is all contingent upon them doing that. The Kunaths, because we are going on private property and fixing their issue, will contribute $2,500 towards this project as well. So the total project is around $25,000 for hit down there, and the other one's around $24,000. We have funds that we've set aside from the TIF fund from this park that would be used to pay for this Grand Park TIF that would be used to pay for this. So it's a good project. We're slowly but surely addressing some of the issues, and at some point we're going to have to figure out there's some street sections that probably need to be replaced. That's a lot more expensive, and we are diminishing some of the monies we set aside, so we'll have to wait for them to build up before we do that. But that's probably next year.
That's quite a lengthy explanation, sir, and I appreciate that. With that explanation, do I have a motion to accept Resolution 2026-9er Romeo?
I'll make that motion.
Member Neiman's made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Member Kelly's made a second. Now, Mr. Judd, or anybody else on council, would anybody like to have comments, questions, concerns?
No further questions.
Anybody else? This is an important project. Roll call, please.
Member Kelly.
Aye.
Member Judd.
Aye.
Member Lovins.
Aye.
Member Neary.
Aye.
Member Neiman.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. And last on the docket for the order resolutions for the evening would be Order Resolution 2027-10 Romeo. Ms. Klein, please.
An order resolution approving a City of Dayton Memorial Bench program to incentivize donations for the purchase, manufacture, and placement of memorial benches in the city.
So we've recently had a couple of requests from people that want to do memorial benches in the city on behalf of loved ones. This is something that Bellevue does, and so we looked at their program, we think it would be a good idea to do it here. I've also talked with South Bank Partners, Will Weber, Executive Director, about, they do that too on the benches on the trail, along the river, and we'd like to maybe get the same type of benches they're getting, and working with them and purchase them maybe in bulk to get some savings. So basically, if you wanted to do this, the person seeking would pay for the bench and the plaque that would go on it, and then we would install it. And it could be in our parks, probably in our public parks, and maybe on the river or on the trail up on the levee too. We looked at our benches in Monument Park, and they're getting a little rough, so it would be nice to kind of replace those. These are heavy-duty cast iron benches, and I think they'll be really a little more attractive than the ones we have there now. So we have somebody right now that's interested in doing it, so we thought we'd go ahead and get this before you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Fawcett. Do I have a motion to accept Order Resolution 2027-10, Romeo?
So moved.
Member Judd made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Member Neiman. Any questions, comments, concerns regarding the order resolution?
Question would be about maintenance. Are these benches that are going to need painting later on, and or would any would be?
They might, but they're power coated. They're really high quality benches. I can send you an image of it. Will send it to me. So, yeah, I think that they'll probably be low maintenance, but these benches don't last forever. But they're solid. They're a lot more solid than ones we currently have in Monument Park.
Right, but would that then be a city expense, or would that be
That
on
we would
the-
maintain them.
Okay.
Once they were done, we would take responsibility for maintaining them.
Okay, so we get the installation and the maintenance.
That's
then.
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent question.
And these could only be placed on city property, not private property?
That's correct. And they can make suggestions, but under our rules, if you look in there, we make the ultimate decision where they go.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Roll call, please, Ms. Klein.
Member Judd?
Aye.
Member Levens?
Aye.
Member Neary?
Aye.
Member Neiman?
Aye.
Member Kelly?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving right along. Next up is the Department Director's monthly reports, and I typically go ladies first, but I believe Ms. Patterson's on vacation. Well deserved. So we'll see her next month, so that brings us right up next. We'll go Mr. Lucas.
Ladies first?
I didn't say it.
Well, my favorite saying, we're swamped. We've been working on a little bit on the river trail, and also earlier this month we had a couple of trees go down. That storm, the wind we had, we got that taken care of. The trees that we thought were dying, Jared, on Dayton Pike and down there by when you come off from Route 8, go on Manhattan Boulevard, they're starting to grow from the bottom up. So,
I ain't dead yet.
no, they're not. Some of them take 2 years. And really, I mean, we're just real busy. I mean, there's our new garbage cans that
Those look
we're
great.
putting out up on the avenue.
Those were manufactured here in Dayton at
Yeah,
Metal Solutions.
Metal Solutions.
They
They're the
always
ones who
work
did
with us.
the original one. So we'll replace some of the ones on the avenue and
We're
then
gonna,
bring them down. We'll repaint them and put them out.
Yeah,
somewhere
big
else.
shout out to Metal Solutions for,
Yeah.
what, 20 years of a partnership with them?
Oh, yeah, yeah. They'll do about anything for me. I mean, they gave me metal before, the
Oh.
whole bit. They're good people.
yeah, they
Appreciate
do.
them.
And he's also looking at building me a box for our dump truck to put our chippings in
Right.
from the chipper.
Yeah,
He's going to be looking at building that.
They're great. They're great to work with.
yeah, they do like really big military projects.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
I'm
right out
trying
of
to
here
get
in the
with,
industrial zone.
With all the people on the river trail. But they're wanting to do a big swing, and Metal Solutions would be perfect for that.
They're the ones that built the swings over in Sawyer,
Yeah,
Sawyer
over
Park, or
Sawyer
whatever
Point
that,
and everything.
small park.
Smale Park?
They built those, so they've
Yeah,
already.
they can build anything down.
Yeah, they're nice people.
Yeah, they're
Big fan.
really good.
Hey, Rick, while we're talking about garbage cans, I want to mention something. So there's a lot of ways that you can look at how successful a city is, different metrics you can look at, but we have found a really unique one, talking about garbage cans. Tell the council about our downtown garbage cans and how often you have to empty them now compared to the past.
The first 3 blocks we're emptying almost every day. I mean, it's that good.
In the
How,
past,
how different is that in the past?
Well, 10 years ago, we had inmates. I'd have 2 groups with 2 inmates apiece, just going out picking litter all day long.
Yeah.
We don't pick litter anymore. We don't have to. I mean, every once in a while, we'll have a little bit in the monument area, but we don't have to walk on the streets and pick litter no more.
And there's just some more people that are.
Right.
that-
There's a lot more people, but everybody's taking care of their, front of their house or whatever, but, yeah, we're not doing it hardly ever. I mean, Cassie will send us out on a job sometimes, but.
Yeah, you
it's
always
not
have
for
your,
the streets.
your days.
Yeah.
That's
and-
great.
And I think the toters have helped that too.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't have nearly as much cans blown over or opening up, so yeah, I think that's really cut down on the litter issue as well.
Yeah, and the Memorial Day Parade, I mean, I couldn't have went any better.
Yeah, you guys did a great
I
job.
mean, we didn't have no issues. I guess, Garrett, when you lined them all up, you didn't have no problems down there?
I think
it
went as
actually
smooth as I
went
can remember,
great.
the start went as smooth as I can remember. That was a good idea, lining them up on the different streets this
Yeah,
year.
it worked out great. I mean, we had the avenue cleaned up, all of our cones and everything up before the parade people got back in town. I mean, we were able to fall right in behind. No problem.
Went off without a hitch, man. It was great.
That's all I have. I mean, if anybody's got any questions.
Any questions for Director Lucas? Thanks, sir. Have a good evening. Chief Halfhill, your report for the police department, please.
At my monthly report, I just got the police social work monthly report today, so sorry for that being so late. It's out of my hands, so I'm waiting every month from the dispatch and our police social workers for that. You have my monthly report. The only thing I just want to touch base on, we're still doing the Behind the Badge on our Facebook page. Seems to be a pretty big hit. Getting to know the officers, stuff like that. So it's going along pretty good. I want to give a shout out to Lieutenant Colonel Baldwin we got accepted for the grant to replace our patrol rifles. That was something that I did when I came here 11 years ago. We had Dermo, which is from the military, and they looked like they were from Vietnam. They were old, very old rifles, so I upgraded those, and they're starting to get a lot of wear and tear on them. So we did receive a grant to have them replaced. So that's good.
The grant covers all the costs? Because I think we
Yes, I
discussed
believe
this
so,
last
didn't it?
year.
Jared? Yeah, it's
Wonderful.
100%. And that's something Lieutenant Colonel Baldwin, with the state's given a lot of grants out, body armor, helmets, shields, things like that. Hopefully we can get some more shields, but yeah, it's 100% covered. And I got a message today I kind of want to share with you guys. Just a shout out to a couple of our officers. I got a message saying that, I'll read it verbatim. I'm writing simply to personally thank the officers who responded to my call last night on 8th. I won't give an address. Myself and my 2 children were treated kindly and with respect and understand during a difficult time. This was a domestic situation. My kids both commented after they were at our guys, they made a comment in quotes that they were good guys. Domestic situations are traumatic, and it's so embarrassing to be the one with police at your house. But knowing that we have caring police in our community, it made the experience a lot easier. So as a police chief, this kind of feedback's invaluable. Just shows the type of training, it validates our training that we constantly take at a yearly basis, and it reinforces a healthy community-oriented policing. So just shout out to those guys. I just kind of want to share that.
Hey, Chief, on the opioids issue that you talked about here, I want everybody to remember that that's how we're paying for those social workers. So
Yes.
we're deferring that revenue, but it's now finally, for the first couple of years we were getting it, we weren't using it yet, but now it's being used every year to pay for those social workers. And how's that working out for the department?
It's tremendous. I mean, we have a great relationship with Felicia in the Campbell County Police. She shows up to any call we need her with, any type, and you see the types of calls she assists on, homelessness. We're having a lot of homelessness. She's trying to find food, shelter,
Right.
just you name it, domestic situations, trying to help them out, and clothing, you name it. It's been an invaluable tool. Something that took officers off the street for sometimes 4 to 5 hours to try to assist citizens struggling. We'd have to go to the hospital, sit with them at the hospital, and things like that, which we still do. But we had a subject that she was a victim of a crime, and she tried to take her own life. And we went to the hospital with her, along with our social worker, try to provide her with the things that she needs to try to move forward. So that was a great team effort. Like I said, if we didn't have Felicia or social worker, we'd be on our own, and we'd probably be off the streets for an extended period of time.
And the great thing that she does is the follow-up, which we don't have the
She
time
does
to
a lot
do.
of follow-up,
Right?
yeah. She has the time to do that. Sometimes we're on to the next call.
Right.
Or the next issue that we have to address immediately, and sometimes it's hard to follow up, or, she has more time to do that. It's been a great tool. That's all I had.
Any questions
Anybody
for the
has any
chief this evening?
questions?
Chief, I just wanted to say, I had a trial with Sergeant Lynn Kugel today at 1 against Harry Hellings. Sergeant Lynn Kugel did not know he was going to be in trial until about 2 hours before, as you know.
Right.
And he came, showed up, looked like $1 million, and he was ready to roll. So I really appreciate it. And in the process, sometimes that happens. Subpoenas don't get issued, and he came, and he was ready. And I also had the privilege of watching him work with a victim of a city for 2 hours and 40 minutes to get all the paperwork filled out necessary to be able to ensure that with patience and grace and all the things that are necessary, that girl would not have done but for him, literally,
Right.
and the social worker.
Right.
And it was 2 hours and 40 minutes. I've watched it twice, so I'm never gonna get that time back. But the bottom line is that Dayton's a safer place because of him. So I should write something up and put it in his file, because, when you're told 2 hours before you get a trial, it's a lot.
Well,
to
luckily,
prepare
it
for.
fell on a good day where we had a lot of people here.
Yeah.
We had 4 people on today, so
Yeah,
we were
it's-
able to cover him while he was gone. So-
It's just great, obviously working here with you guys, but more importantly, we don't always have that cooperation with police departments. It's always our fault, we can't do it. Dayton always is like, let's go.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
Yeah, we're usually ready to go. So,
We have a
thank
great department.
Thank you for that.
Any other questions for chief?
The ATVs are up and running too. Just, I think I was down on the, last week, I've been down there every day on the quad, on the Riverwalk and stuff like that. So we've been trying to get the ATVs and the side-by-sides, and we've been visible down on the Riverwalk. So you'll see us more down there. That's it. Go ahead.
Thanks, sir. You have a good evening.
All right, thank you.
Last but not least, Chief Schaefer, Fire Department. You guys had a little cookout yesterday.
We did.
How'd that turn out for you, sir?
Good. I think we cooked 100 hamburgers and 80 dogs.
All right. I got one dog in me.
It's your fault.
I could have had more, you said. I'm good.
Now everybody has a copy of my report. 193 runs last month, 49 fire, 144 EMS runs. Training, big thing on training, beginning of the month, we did a class with Newport and Covington. It was a rail car class. Findlay University came down, they brought it's a smaller one, but a demo rail car we could get hands-on with. So that was really valuable training with them. Year to date, we're already up to almost 1,000 hours of training department-wide, which is averaging 62 hours a person, which is just outstanding. We did 17 inspections, and around the firehouse, we're working on getting some new software, which is going to be really awesome. So just getting that changed over is always fun. Everybody's going through our annual department physicals, so Sandy comes in, does blood work there, and then we go to business health and get the physicals. And then everybody had a great day at Memorial Day.
Thank you, Chief. Do you have any questions for the chief this evening?
Thank you.
You guys also did a killer job, as always, with the Memorial Day parade, so thank you, sir. Thanks for letting us build that amazing float in the firehouse. We enjoy it with you. Okay, last on the docket for the reports would be Mr. Fawcett. You're down to your final 6 reports.
Okay,
Make it count.
Not that you're counting. So we got a couple of things I wanted to catch up on. We have a ribbon cutting for the final 2 phases of Riverfront Commons, or the River Walk. That will be held at 4 p.m. on Tuesday, January 16th. That's next Tuesday, a week. So that's exciting. That will finish the trail in Dayton along the river, and then we'll try to get the other one done next year on top of the levee. So actually, we'll get the design done next year, and then we don't get the funding for the year after that. But that's something that my predecessor will have to work on. Also, asphalt has been finished. The asphalt work with Eaton has been finished in the city. They are now doing some of the striping. I know I've seen they've done some stop lines, but they haven't done any of the yellow lines. And they're only going to do it where we had existing lines. So the one place where we didn't have existing lines, they're going to do it is the new section of Route 8 that goes down to Main Street. So we're required to put the yellow lines back in there in the crosswalk. So I think they'll be hopefully doing that in the next few weeks. But the actual paving is all done. We did a number of streets this year. We expended quite a bit of money, but I think they're looking good. We had one section of 7th that was not done because the Water District has to make some repairs there. It's like a block. Once those repairs are done, we'll do it next year, hopefully in that budget for asphalt paving. So speaking of sidewalks, we, of course, talked about the one along Dayton Pike, the long-awaited second phase of that project. But we also are undertaking a brand-new project that I know Councilman Neary's near and dear to his heart. We are currently in the process of taking, and we're doing this in conjunction with the Housing Authority, a sidewalk from the stairs on the north side of the flood wall over here near Maine. And we're doing a sidewalk from there all the way to the Housing Authority, and then we're paying for that, and then the Housing Authority is paying for a sidewalk along their property connecting to, I guess that's 3rd or 2nd Avenue? 2nd or 3rd Avenue. Yeah. So, and there'll be ADA ramps there as well. So we're splitting that cost, and so that will give one more way to access our trail system. And Rick has been talking to Meadow Solutions about making the railings to replace the ones that have been damaged and are gone over the years. So that's the next phase. But once we get the sidewalks done, we'll work on the railings. So I know it's something you've talked about for a while, and I know you want railings going down the other side. We're looking at that as well. So we're getting a quote from them about that. Then the final thing, Dayton Avenue Steps, Beth. I know this is one of your near your neighborhood, and one of the projects you have an interest in. It's about 2/3, maybe 4/5 of the project is done, the welding's done. So she's got the last section up to 10th Avenue to go, and we are going to be coming there through the Public Works Department, and we're going to be prepping the areas that have been welded and then painting those railings. So we'll probably start on that when she's finishing up the last part of that. So it's looking really good. I don't know if you've been down to look at it.
I just went down there a couple days ago. It looked
Yeah,
really
it
nice.
looks so much better.
It's a huge improvement, including
Huge.
the brush and the poison ivy and
Yeah, I know.
the
We had
repairs.
yeah, it's a lot better than it was. And she said that it's amazing the number of people that are walking to that all the
Yep.
time. They all want to stop and talk to her. She's trying to walk. We're trying to work and finish the project, but she's great. So, yeah, that project is near completion, so that would be exciting to finish that up. So that's all I have.
That's awesome. We have a lot of great projects going on. And again, so we're using Total Metal Solutions here in Dayton. We're also using, I call her an artist, Susan
She's an
Barris.
artist.
Because she's an artist.
Susan Brisk, she's a Dayton resident on Thornton.
Correct. And I believe she was the first lead welder for the Cincinnati Guild that is a female.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Yeah. So how cool is that?
That's really cool.
She works her tail off making things happen for us. So if you have a Dayton business and you think that we can help you and provide services that we need, call us. We like to buy from Dayton. Any questions for Administrator Fawcett this evening?
Sir, on the steps going over the flood wall, thanks for pushing that sidewalk project there. I think that's going to really open up the east end of town more to be able to use the Riverwalk up top. I had asked in the past about on Manhattan Boulevard having a marked crosswalk to the bottom of those steps and pedestrian crossing sign.
Yeah, I talked to Rick about that, and I think when we start doing the painting, that's one of the things we'll do.
Okay, cool.
And now the trail's done, it's going to make more sense that we should have that there, because the trail system is now in place up there with the sidewalk in front of the apartments too, so.
Okay, that'd be great if we can get that done this year, because I often see people right from that ramp by their dumpster crossing the street with their
Yeah.
dogs, et cetera.
Yeah, we'll do that, and we'll put signage up, put crossing signage too.
Okay, cool. And I've also noticed, been spending some time down on the flood wall and walking the new path along the river. That 25-mile-an-hour flashing sign makes a big difference. It really does. Maybe have one the other direction also. But I know, it's all amount. I'm just saying, if you come up with some extra cash or something, they're very effective, I think. And I've noticed that there's fewer tickets being written for speeding there. I think that's a result of that. That's all I have, sir.
Administrator Fawcett, quick clarifying question. On when replacing that, are they still going to be steps? I think you mentioned ADA accessible.
No, that's going to be down, there will be, we have plans for ADA accessibility up here at the end of what's, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so that's going to stay steps?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah, that's going to stay steps there.
Got it. Thank you.
And so there was some talk about at some point in the future, maybe McKinney, somewhere around that area, to do another set of steps, but that's, there's development agreements in place there too, to make sure. But that's existing, so there's no development down there. So, yeah, so those will stay steps. But Berry Street is where the ADA ramp will go down to the trail.
Excellent. Any other questions for Mr. Fawcett? All right. Next up, if you are a member of the audience and you'd like to address City Council or City Administration, you may approach the podium. Just need to know your name and address. Hello.
Hi, my name is Susan Vader, and I live at 11009 and kind of 604 Vine Street. And I'm here today about regulations of Airbnbs. I would like to know, well, it appears that the city doesn't really have any besides regular rental.
Correct.
And I'm told that one of the reasons is because of you're waiting for Frankfurt or something, because
There was legislation that was proposed that would limit what cities could do, but that failed, but it was going to come back again.
okay. But what about the meantime? I have regulations from neighboring cities, Bellevue, Newport, Fort Thomas. And I mean, they already have them. I've looked at Covington's, which are a little bit complicated. They go by neighborhoods. But let me tell you how I've been affected. I want to sell my house up on the hill. A few years ago, I missed out on that sale. My allergies are really bad. I missed out on that sale because of the blight at the top of the steps. You know, they were waiting and waiting for that guy to clean up. It took forever. Looks good now. Too late for that sale.
The city cleaned it up. We cleaned it up.
Yeah. All right, so I've been staying at Vine Street probably since March. In my block, from 6th Street to 8th Street, there are 3 Airbnbs, one on the corner of 7th, or one on the corner of Vine Street and 8th, one on the right side, right on the other side of the alley, and one in the alley. Those 3 Airbnbs have a potential of 23 guests. That takes up a lot of parking in a city that already has very little parking. These 3 cities all have regulations about parking for Airbnbs. I know Beth has an Airbnb in my neighborhood. People don't even know it's there because they're not affected. One of the things they always say is, oh, I didn't even know there was one back there. In my neighborhood,
I have my own 15 spots.
I know.
That are not
I mean,
public.
and that's great. And, you know, and it's a lovely Airbnb. And I mean, you know, it won't work for us to do what Fort Thomas does. Slang, I think there you have to have an off-street parking for every bedroom. But there is something we could do. And it isn't just the parking. Like the guy on Vine Street, he doesn't live here in the city. He pulled out all of his turf. He filled the yard with rocks. So he doesn't have to pay anybody to maintain it. It becomes blighted with weeds, you know, which in a way I don't mind so much because at least there's pollinators. But what happens then is he comes along and sprays weed killer all over the place, which environmentally I mean, to take out turf and replace it with rocks isn't good for the environment. Weed killer all over the place isn't good either. And that the one that was across from 604 Vine, which is now a single-family residence, that was a short-term rental. They also did it. That little 4-room cottage with 2 bedrooms one time had 4 cars. So, I mean, I don't know what we're waiting for, but Airbnbs, you know, I'm not against them, but I think that they undermine community. They change the character of the neighborhood. There are sometimes issues with noise. They decrease affordable or available housing for residents. Families could be moving in, and that affects the school too. I mean, that affects school attendance. So I'm like, what are we waiting for? Why don't we do something? It's time. I mean, you know, I could tell you other stories about how I've been affected by, like, the parking, because my nephew he lives above the storefront with his little girl. They've come home in the middle of the night from the hospital and had nowhere to park with their you know, child that they brought home from Children's Hospital. You know, it's pretty annoying to walk out and see your street filled with cars from New Jersey, Iowa, Florida. I mean, you know, I just feel like there's something we can do. I mean, you can issue a certain number of parking passes per bedroom, require people to display them. I mean, I feel like we've dropped the ball. Why aren't we doing something?
I would guess that my response to you, and first of all, I really appreciate your concerns. That's my neighborhood as well. You know, I'm a block away.
Yes. You know, and there's lots more. There's one right across from the guy on 7th, or on 8th and Vine. There's one right across the street from him on 8th. There's a lot of them in that neighborhood.
My immediate response is we have not had that many complaints. I'm sitting over here looking at your neighborhood right here, your block, and seeing the gentleman's house who is now all rock versus turf.
Well, he's got 2 of them. He has one in the alley that used to have 3 garages in it.
Yeah.
He took one garage, made that the entrance to the Airbnb upstairs above the garage. The two other ones he's cleaning out. And, you know, I would be willing to bet he intends to rent the garage spaces instead of provide them for the Airbnb. I could be wrong. I don't know what he intends to do. But he owns 3 of them. He lives in Mason, not in the city.
Okay. So we haven't had any complaints. We will. I'm not going to lie to you. We do get an occasional, like, well, there's a bachelor party here or something like that. That's kind of rare. I'd say it's been a year since we've had one of those complaints. These people do come to the city. They do promote our city. They do shop our stores, eat our restaurants, pay our taxes, those types of things. I mean, they are viable supporters of our city. So we're trying not to pigeonhole ourselves to the point where we're over-regulating businesses. And then when you have a sub thing of coming out of Frankfurt where they're trying to do those things that would override anything that we would do, we didn't want to, lay out legislation that's just going to be overridden by a Frankfurt legislation. Those are the reasons that we haven't done anything yet. Haven't had much of a problem contributing to the city. The state could override anything we do. Doesn't mean that your concerns aren't valid. Doesn't mean that we don't have some of your same concerns. But that's the reason, and that's what you're asking, I believe.
Well, okay, I mean, do you intend to do anything, or what are you just waiting?
If we have more complaints, if they stop contributing to the city, and if the state says we're not going to do anything about it.
Well, my experience, and I've talked to lots of these people because they walk down, most of the time, they're going to Cincinnati, and they're catching they're catching an Uber. I mean, I've even tried to talk them, I walk downtown all the time. I go to OTR.
Yeah.
And, I can't even get them to ride a tank bus to catch the
12?
or the South
shuttle.
Bank.
Yeah, sure.
To catch the connector, to give up public transportation. Yeah. And they always ask me about restaurants there. I want to promote the city too. I do care about the city.
I mean, I remember a year ago or so, I was at Hometown Heroes, and there was a dozen folk in there that were from all around who came back to Cincinnati for a UC reunion, a class reunion. And they were like staying in Dayton, Kentucky, because it was close to downtown, same reason a lot of us live here. And they found that place, and they were eating at Hometown that night because the night before and the night after, they were all going out for their reunion. So, I mean, those types of stories are out there. And it's not all bachelor parties. It's not all.
Oh, I agree. 90% of the people.
And every time I stay at an Airbnb, it's not a bachelor party. It's Julie and I trying to find a nice place to stay in a neighborhood where we can contribute to the local neighborhood. Because I don't want to stay in downtown Chicago every time. And sometimes I want to sit in the outskirts and feel the neighborhoods. But that's not the answer to your question. You're asking about any type of upcoming legislation, and we don't have any, but we're interested in it. If you have some ideas, and Jared,
Well, I can give you, I made some copies of Bellevue.
Oh, there you go, great.
I actually did a memo for the council, and I presented to them last council meeting. I went through all the ordinances, talked about what they do in each of the cities, so they have it already.
Well, that's what I found out.
Yeah. I can share that with you if you want. I mean, it's pretty.
It's pretty easy to find. Actually,
they're all across the
everybody's
board.
was easier
Yeah.
than ours were to find.
So
but that's because they didn't really exist, I guess.
Yeah, they're
I
all
mean,
across the board.
so I guess you're telling me tough luck, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe I won't move in Vine Street. I'll just join the party. I have a building. I could have 16 more spaces. And maybe I should get a property manager. I don't want to be a landlord.
Right.
But it is annoying that you never know who lives in your neighborhood when it's overrun with Airbnbs, and that street's beginning to feel like it is.
Okay.
And, I think it's time to maybe try and do something about it. Because, I don't really think having an excess of Airbnbs helps build communities. There was a woman, I was putting shelf paper in 2 o'clock in the morning, Saturday night. I heard some party walking up the street. They had come from the mess hall in Fort Thomas. They parked in the yellow at the bottom of the street because there was nowhere else to park. I went out, I said, do you know you're illegally parked? Because it's dangerous to park all the way by the avenue. I said, you're illegally parked, you can get a ticket. They said, well, there's nowhere else to park. We just came from a wedding at the mess hall. I said, why don't you stay in Fort Thomas? Well, there aren't many Airbnbs in Fort Thomas. Then I let them park. I said, well, I'm not leaving for a while. You can block my driveway. And they blocked my driveway. I want to promote the community too. I just think it's about balance. And I feel like in that neighborhood in particular, it's become overrun. My fear is there is a property right now, thank goodness, someone is rehabbing it, but I'm afraid it could become another Airbnb because they're very profitable, especially if you don't live in the city, and you don't have to deal with it. Fill your yard with rocks and you don't even have to hire someone to cut your grass.
I think the biggest challenge with short-term rentals is what's the difference between a short-term rental parking, long-term rental parking, and privately owner-occupied parking. Parking's an issue
All across
everywhere.
the city. The city wasn't built, it's when people had one car per
Right.
household.
Right.
And
There's a
it's a
density.
problem everywhere. But I can tell you the difference is that an Airbnb tends to have a lot more cars than, another two-bedroom house because they might have 4 people coming from many different places.
And
You
just to-
don't need closet space in an Airbnb, but in a house that you live in, you have to have somewhere to put your stuff.
Playing
So there-
devil's advocate here. And
Pardon?
I'm playing devil's advocate and trying to say one aspect of how challenging this is.
I agree. But you're smart people. Figure it out.
If I have, Jessica, you live on 4th Street, and you have a 25-foot wide lot, which is enough for one car, should we limit you to just one car? You can't do it. It's public property. That's the challenge.
Yeah.
So whether it's owner-occupied, long-term rental, or what we call a short-term rental, an Airbnb or Vrbo, that's the problem is it's public property. The streets are public property. Anybody can park there. And I can't tell my neighbor that he can only have 2 cars or 4 cars based on the number of bedrooms. You just can't do that. It's public property. I think the solution, and the other challenge is what is the difference between long-term and short-term? If I have a 6-month lease, is that short-term rental or long-term rental?
Well, all these other cities have defined it.
Yeah, they find it as
Yeah,
a
they
shorter
define
period
it.
of time.
And what I have seen and stayed in different Airbnbs all over the place is they usually keep their places pretty nice or they get a lousy review and then they lose business.
I agree.
So it's not a property maintenance issue. In this town especially, and in most cities, it's a parking issue. That's the main complaint. If there's a party going on, it's the same as if some kid's parents are out of town and he throws a party. We get the police department there on a nuisance thing. The thing that we have, the main issue I see with Airbnbs or any short-term rentals is the number of vehicles, correct?
Well, that's the way it affects me the most. I think other people have been affected by things like noise. It's true. I am surprised. I guess I'm the first one here ever complaining at a council meeting.
No, we've been talking about it quite a bit behind the scenes.
Yeah. But, there's also the issue of how it affects the community.
Understood.
And I think that's really an important point. The school system loses out on families moving in and collecting revenue for the school system by attendance,
Are any of these short-term rental legislation that you've seen, Alex, does that limit the density as far as the number of properties per neighborhood or anything like that?
Covington does. Covington limits
Covington's,
it.
yes.
Covington does. It limits it 1 per block face in certain areas of the city.
And it's defined by different neighborhoods can have a number.
That's correct. Cumming is really the only one. They kind of get in more to the zoning stuff and that issue than just regulatory stuff.
So
I mean,
maybe,
I feel like my street's pretty saturated. I'd hate to see one more pop up. And that's things you can regulate. If other people are doing it, why can't?
understood. I understand the frustration, especially as far as parking.
Man, I mean, I'm really, I'm thinking, I put a lot of work into it, and I'm thinking, you know, if I can't hack this, maybe I should just join the club, make some money.
There was, correct me if I'm wrong, we
Can
do
I
have-
finish, please?
Yeah, sure.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Would approaching it at first with residential-only parking marked be at least a starter solution? They do that over in Newport, around Newport on the Levee. For the few homes that are left there on Monmouth, I think it is, they made it resident parking only for the few houses that are left there. In a neighborhood like that where there is a density, much like we do with handicap parking spots, that you would have resident parking only and resident stickers. The issue then is, what if you have multiple cars and only a small frontage?
Well, yeah, and I mean, maybe it has to be more, you know, the guy that has 2 garages, should those 2 garages be required for his Airbnb people? I mean, I don't, you know, maybe he intends to do that, but given that, you know, I don't know. You know, he could also collect revenue from renting those garages. So maybe you need to take a look at each Airbnb, and that's a big job. I mean, I don't know how many we have in the city. They're not all on Airbnb. My cousin came from Memphis and stayed at one on 5th Street through VRBO. They had off-street parking. It was the Airbnb completely had a big thing about how not to bother the neighbors, you know, all of that.
Right.
I mean, some of these Fort Thomas's looks pretty good to me. I like it, but you know, it wouldn't work here. It's not realistic to expect people to provide off-street parking for every bedroom. I mean, we don't even have that for our residents. It wouldn't work.
Cassie has a list of the ones that we suspect are Airbnbs. She was supposed to present, she's sick tonight, so I do have a list of, we've gone through it. The last meeting you asked me to put that together. I have it, I'll send it out to you all. I can't remember the number, but it's growing.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, I like you at least to take a look at it, because I can tell you it's no fun. I mean, I like to meet people from other places, and I like to promote the city. But there's also some things that go on one nearby me. I don't really want to go on the record. I think, isn't this streamed or somewhere online? Yeah, I don't. I mean, quietly, I'm a little bit scared, a little bit also. So there's some crazy stuff that's happened. But, you know, it is a little bit frightening all the time to have strangers that, I'm pretty close to the sidewalk, you know, lots of people walking, or to walk out. And I should tell the chief also, last week, or the week before I went down, I came home, there was a truck parked the wrong way, big tires, almost the size of me, 18 inches from the curb. I went and talked to, I rode by the police station. The officer was there. She was wonderful. She came, responded. When I came back around, she was in the alley. I'm sure she probably ticketed the person. And I'm not sure if it was even an Airbnb person, but she was right on it, and I appreciated that. So, I hate coming here and complaining, but I know that it can be a thankless job, but this is a really difficult situation, and I like you at least to take a look at it. And, you know, and saying, I'm going to wait for Frankfurt, to me, I mean, what are you waiting for? How many have sprung up meanwhile?
It was literally a month ago.
Oh, okay, I didn't know
When
that.
session closed. I mean, we literally just passed a resolution asking Frankfurt not to.
Yeah, which I think is a good idea. Here are 3 different cities with 3 different policies.
Right.
How can one thing work for everyone? It can't. You know, we have to design something that works for us. All right, well.
Sue, if you would give me those copies of
Yeah, I'd
the
love to
other
see
ones,
that.
I will.
Yeah, I mean.
I promise you, we all will try and get something done.
I summarized those in the memo, the same one. so-
Understood.
Okay,
I just wanted to see
Okay.
the details on them.
got it.
Thank you.
And the quick point I was going to make, sorry, over here.
Oh, sure.
Is that there is a city parking pad grant allotment. It does not qualify for the landlords themselves, but residents of the city of Dayton, if they would like to build a parking pad off-street, there is a program available where we cover half the cost.
Well,
up to-
I know about that. I just don't have space to, actually, I have a driveway.
Yeah.
I don't park in it because I don't want to block the sidewalk. You know, there are a lot of places in the city where the sidewalks block. Only in emergency will I do it. I don't think you're supposed to block the sidewalk. I've actually have tenants who've gotten a ticket for that. And then, I think it was in this very room, I asked if it was okay if I blocked my own driveway. I know that, Jay, you told me, and I think someone else here told me it was okay to block my own sidewalk. Recently, someone parked in front of my house for more than a week. I went down to complain about it. I spoke to, I believe it is Marcy, is that the clerk in the? Yes. Yeah, okay. Marcy told me there's an ordinance that I'm not allowed to block my own driveway.
I think that's right.
Okay, so,
I mean, I don't know.
The issue is, it's about enforcement. Most of the time, if the residents block their own driveway, it's not gonna be a problem. It's when residents have somebody blocking their driveway that they
right,
call
I
the
mean,
police.
because I'm the
Yeah,
resident will
That's usually a call.
Yeah,
So they'll-
but
yeah.
if I block my own driveway,
You're not gonna call.
I'm not going to get a ticket.
Right.
But there is one that says that, even I'm not allowed to.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That's correct. That's what the ordinance says. That's correct.
Okay.
But it's an enforcement issue, and usually they're not gonna enforce it unless,
And
You call.
it's not enforced unless there's a complaint about it.
generally that's the case.
General, okay. And only the resident would complain normally.
That's usually the case. That's right.
Okay. So, if the guy who owns the Airbnbs that I'm complaining about reports me for it, which I am a little nervous about that, and a few other things, but you wouldn't give me a ticket. Probably not.
I don't think so.
Okay, all right. Well, thanks. All righty, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. We really appreciate you.
Well, I have one more question.
What's up?
What about the plaque?
So I just said that we need, I told him next week, we got to get that plaque finished. We talked to somebody about it. We got to get it done. So this summer we'll get done. I promise. I told Jeff Volter asked about it too. So we'll have it done this summer.
Thank you, Sue. We truly appreciate you. Anybody else from the audience like to approach council, city administration, talk about the Reds? Don't talk about the Reds.
Jerry, come on up so we can hear
We
you.
got to make sure you can be heard, sir. You know the audio system. Come on.
This is just to you guys personally. I have one quick comment. Jerry Huntley, 585. In reviewing the budget, you guys are doing an awesome job. I've been around a lot of different councils, businesses, and things. You're doing it the right way.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to come up and tell us how great we're doing? Anyone? Don't bum rush the show now. Come on. Thank you, Jerry. All right. So we'll go ahead and close out audience comments. Next up is new business from the city council. First on the docket would be update from city council committees. Mr. Judd?
No meeting for the finance committee since the last meeting of city council, and the sports and rec committee is continuing to push for the run and walk clubs, but outside of that, no new news.
I see you. Very aggressive, sir. I love that you're out there. What days you running, walking?
Monday evenings, 6 p.m., El Senor Pig. Wednesday mornings, 6:15 a.m. at Elliott Coffee.
That's awesome, man. So Monday evenings and Wednesday mornings. If you guys are looking to start your evening off or start your morning off, get with Mr. Judd.
Wait, I have a quick question. It's a run and walk club,
Yes, last week we only walked.
and then the next week you run?
No, it's whatever
sprint.
people want to do. There's
Oh,
there's a
okay.
3-mile run loop we do, or a 1.5 mile walk loop that both get you back in about a half hour ish on average speeds. So we meet at 6 and we be back there by 6:30 to start eating or drinking or
So
whatever
you
you want to
decide
do.
right then and there? You want to walk or you want to run?
Yeah, I do, based on the people that attend.
Okay.
Yeah, all skills.
I adapt to what they want to do.
Well, I
All-
would
all
like to go
levels
to the
of-
walk, and I would not like to go to the run. That's why I'm,
I'll walk with you.
okay.
All levels of mobility are welcomed. Any other
Oh,
council committees?
And dogs are welcome as well.
Oh,
Very puppy friendly.
The Marketing and Communication Committee did not meet last month because of a lack of a quorum, but we do have our next meeting tomorrow night right here at 6 PM. And public is invited to put their 8 cents in.
All righty. Marcom, check. Anybody else? Any other committees I'm missing?
And actually, on that topic, sir, the postcard that was sent out,
Yeah.
this is the kind of stuff we've been talking about. Thank you to administration for getting this done. That's the kind of communication that this committee is trying to get more of. And if you didn't get one of these, just stop by the city building, I presume, or call and we'll mail you one.
Yeah, I believe we have some left over at the city building, don't we?
They'll also be in restaurants. I ordered 500 extra, so they'll be distributed to all the restaurants.
Great, thank you.
I have mine on my refrigerator. Just stop by the house, look at my fridge. You'll know what's up.
Yeah.
All right, anybody else have any new business for the evening for city council?
The only other new business I have, sir, is last night, the park board meeting.
Yes, sir.
It was discussed to have a 40th anniversary celebration for Sergeant Park as a volunteer cleanup.
Yeah, over the hill, I believe we called it.
Yeah.
Go over the hill, clean it up.
Yeah. And I think the date set for that was July the 12th,
July 12th.
which
Clean
I
up
think
day.
is before our next council meeting. That's why I'm bringing it up now.
And that's a tentative date. That's not fully established yet.
Understood. So keep an eye out for that. The more volunteers, the better.
Thank you. That was a great park board meeting as well. Any other new business for city council?
I was gonna say, I've got one thing, just, maybe to think about, would be perhaps to, consider changing our council time from 7 to 6:30. Just to, kind of finish a little earlier in the evening for everyone who does have to get up early in the morning. But I don't know if that's, realistic for everyone's schedule, but I thought I'd at
I
least throw
don't
it out
know
there for
who
consideration.
originally, I've been coming to these council meetings for almost 20 years now. And it's never changed. Heck, I think Sue, you might have been coming longer. Has it ever not been Tuesday at 7? Yeah, I mean, I had no idea who set that forth. I always think it's kind of odd because most of us get off work at 5, gives you time to go home, change your shoes.
Yeah, I mean, just something for us to consider, When we changed, from the first, so I thought we get crazy and change the time too.
I'm not against it. If you guys want to think about it for a month and we'll put it on next agenda, I don't care. 6:30 versus 7.
6:15 a.m. maybe?
No, we're not doing that. Some of us have to sleep in. No, but if you want to think about it for a month and then talk about it again next month, 6:30, I have no problem with it. It gets us out of here. I mean, I usually don't eat before I get here, so usually I'm famished.
That's probably why I thought of it.
Yeah, I'm with you. And Joy's over here texting me like, dinner? I'm like, maybe. All right, so think about that for next month for 6:30 versus 7. Any other comments for new business? All right. Do we have a reason for executive session this evening?
We do not.
No executive session. Would anybody like to make a motion for adjournment?
I'll make that motion.
Member Neiman's made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Member Neary's made a second. All in favor? Aye.